What's up, guys? Welcome to the Week 3 live stream here for the Lions Play Picks. Matt Brown, Stephen, and all of the news that is coming through fast and furious. I think the first bit of news that we pretty much knew anyway was that Carson Wentz is active for the Indianapolis Colts for the game today, Stephen. This is one of those things where if you were paying attention, you pretty much knew that he was going to be giving it a go here today, but it is official. He is active for the Colts. They right now are sitting as 5 or 5.5 point underdogs to the Tennessee Titans. This is the 4.5 is available at DraftKings as well. So actually there's numbers all over the place on this one. Not a whole bunch of market agreement. 47.5. I imagine between now and the time this thing gets going, someone's going to take a position on this as to whether they believe in Carson Wentz or not. You made a tweet right before we came on that said, tell me why the Colts are not a live dog today. What were your thoughts on the Colts, and what made you think about the Colts being live today?
Well, two reasons. The Titans' defensive side of the ball has been pretty lackluster so far this season, and that matches the talent level that we projected coming into the season. So that's a concern that I have. And on the other side of the ball, the Titans' offensive line has had some issues too. So frankly, I don't know how the Seahawks let their foot off the gas and the Titans won that game last week. It was a lot of Derrick Henry just going, but I just think that this is a desperate Colts team that at least has their starting quarterback beginning the game. Now, if you want to back off this bet because you're not sure Carson Wentz is going to be able to finish the game, I totally understand that. But I think these two teams are fairly even, to be honest with you, even though I hate Carson Wentz. And I think that the Colts have shown the ability to play solid football. Even against the Rams, they only lost by 3 points. And they went 1 for 4 in the red zone. So they could have easily won that game if they were a little more efficient in the red zone. So I just wonder if this is a live underdog going into week 3.
Yeah, I guess my counterpoint to that would be, and I'll just say this, I don't have a play on this game, probably will not have a play on this game between now and the time this thing kicks off in about an hour and 15, 20 minutes. Counterpoint to that would just be one of the things that has actually saved this offense so far has been Carson Wentz's mobility. Him being able to avoid the pass rush, extend plays. Now, sometimes he does some stupid things whenever he avoids the pass rush and extends these plays and things. But it is one of the bright spots so far for this Colts offense has been Carson Wentz being able to basically not go down, keep the play going, find some people down the field on broken plays, different things like that. Well, I don't know maybe they overplayed how bad this ankle thing is, because Stephen, I've sprained an ankle before. I can't imagine playing quarterback on a sprained ankle, much less on 2 sprained ankles. So I'm wondering if these were more like ankle tweaks as opposed to true ankle sprains, because again, playing the quarterback position in the NFL is hard enough as it is. And then doing that with 2 sprained ankles seems like it would be near impossible 6 days later.
Well, yeah, it's strange. It was apparently severe enough where he couldn't finish, but not severe enough for him to stand on the sidelines with an earpiece in and watch the rest of the game. So he was at least able to stand. To me, that was a very strange situation that, I understand the Rams have a strong front four and were pressuring the Colts, but I didn't understand why he wasn't able to finish. He's clearly healthy enough and has recovered in 6 days enough to play this week. So, yeah, it's a very strange situation. I don't understand it. And I'm just saying I'm not mobility against the Titans this week.
Again, that's sitting anywhere between 4.5 and 5.5. So that is all over the place right now. Be sure and go in and take a look. One of the things we do see right now, this Browns Bears has moved back to 7.5 in favor of the Browns. It had gotten all the way down to 7. News coming through, good for the Browns. Odell Beckham is going to go. Also, Jedrick Wills, offensive lineman for them, is going to go as well. So about as good as could be expected there for this Browns team, considering they did lose Jarvis Landry to the IR from last week's game. Also, Tashawn Gibson, Chicago, is out, starting safety for them. So here we go. Back to 7.5 here. This is a prime teaser leg, in my opinion, here, Steven. This is one of the ones I'm going to be, I'm already on with the Browns down to 1.5. I didn't think it was going to get to 7, or I'd have waited and got it down to 1, but whatever, 1.5, it is what it is. So yeah, I have this as a prime teaser leg. And again, Odell's going to go. They get with their starting offensive lineman that was questionable is going to go as well. So I think that that's a pretty good if you're a Browns backer.
Yeah, I'm very confident in that play. I'm with you on that. I have them teased in a leg with the Carolina Panthers from Thursday. I have them with Buffalo as well this week. So I echo everything you just said about the Cleveland Browns this week. I am curious to see what the upside is of Justin Fields, but I share your sentiments that I'm not sure why this spread went this way as opposed to the other way. I think it's just some rookie quarterback hype. I understand he's mobile, but this is not the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the Cleveland Browns. This is one of the strongest rosters in the NFL.
Some of the guys that are active that had questionable tags throughout the course of the week, just so I can give you a quick rundown here. We never thought that he wasn't going to play, but DeAndre Hopkins was listed as questionable. He was always going to play. Officially active. Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown, both of them listed as questionable for the Ravens. Both of those guys officially active. We mentioned Carson Wentz. Kenny Golladay was a guy that actually was kind of a game time decision. Went out there and this morning had to do some running around and have make the team feel comfortable in him being active, but he is active for the Giants. So the Giants actually have all of their weapons today in this game for the first time all season, because Evan Ingram is back as well for the Giants, making his season debut at the tight end position. Joey Bosa was a big question mark for the Chargers. He is officially active as well. He went out there and went ahead and gave it a go, and they're going to let him try at least, even though he did not practice all week long for them. Officially inactive, T. Higgins was a guy that was doubtful. Doubtful typically means out. Wide receiver for the Bengals is going to be out. Frank Clark is out for the Chiefs. Now, if you were paying attention, this was something that became evident about midweek that he was probably going to be out, but still big loss there on the Chiefs side for the defense. And then Trent Brown, tackle for the Patriots, is officially out as well. Now, if you were following the news for the Ravens, Steven, this didn't come through whenever we did our Megapod, but they are missing, on top of the guys that were just going to be out anyway, they have a bunch of guys that are on the COVID list as well. So like Brandon Williams, we have we have Calais Campbell, we have there was a couple. Justin Houston, I think, is another guy that there was a bunch of guys that are inactive for them. So they are going to be pretty thin on the defensive side of the ball due to COVID exposure.
Yeah. This is a Lions team that I think is, been competitive through 2 weeks here. I mean, how do you feel about this spread?
I actually played the Lions in the contest here in town. I have 2 entries in the Circa Millions. I played the Lions in both, and I feel pretty comfortable with it. Listen, I think there's just enough talent on that Lions team to keep it within, within a touchdown. Now, that being said, we are looking at this spread has plummeted now with all of this news. I mean, this thing is sitting. Where are we at right now with this thing, Steven?
The best price it looks like you can get on the Lions right now at Legal Books is Lions +8 at BetMGM, which I'm still good with that. I got them it was mostly at 8.5 at most books throughout the week. I got it at +9 at DraftKings, but I wouldn't go further than 8. I think that's a good number there, but there are books that already have it down to 7.5. So if you want the Lions, I would go get it now at BetMGM at +8.
Adrian asks in the chat here, thoughts on Chargers +8.5. If you can find an 8.5, I would take the hell out of it.
Where the heck are you getting 8.5 right now?
It is. Wow. It's down to 7 across the board right now. And I say down to 7. Actually, it was sitting 6.5 all week long, so it actually ticked up to 7. But it's sitting at 7 across the board. If you have an 8.5 somewhere at some rogue book or whatever, then I would play 8.5 all day long. You're crushing market right there if you can find that, no doubt about it.
So let's dive into that just a little bit here, Matt. Our new lead writer Eli Hershkovich did some defensive analysis this week on the site, and Kansas City's defense was one that he pointed out. Kansas City is dead on defense in success rate allowed, 59.2%. In terms of EPA per play on defense, they are not great either. So they are bottom 5 in that statistic as well. So this is a Chiefs defense that has really struggled through 2 weeks. We have a big time Chiefs fan on staff, Mo Nawara, as well. So he's dialed in like 2018 Chiefs defense vibes. So there's a lot of smart minds here on our staff that liked the Chargers if you were getting a touchdown or more this week.
Yeah, it's a very interesting scenario because the good, Joey Bosa's out there, the bad, Chris Harris is out for the Chargers, Justin Jones, starting defensive end, is out for the Chargers. So while they do have Bosa, they are still down 2 starters in this game. I guess the question here becomes, so the Browns were 6.5-point dogs to the Chiefs in week 1. And now here we are with the same spread. Do we eye the Browns and the Chargers as the same team here? Like, do we power rate them equally? Do we think that these two teams are equal? Because we're looking at the same spread we got in week 1 between the Browns and the Chargers. And listen, I like the Chargers, and I think that they're certainly a good football team, but I think the Browns are probably one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFL. And so I don't know. For me, I don't rate those equally really at all. I
certainly see your point. Let me give you a devil's advocate view here. We didn't know the Chiefs defense was this bad week 1, right? I mean, that's another bullet point. I can kind of see it both ways here, though, but you make a valid argument.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the number's appropriate. So for me, it's a non-play. Like, I think the number's pretty much about right. I think it's appropriate, especially with them getting Joey Bosa back. If they had not gotten Bosa, and in full disclosure, I have a Chiefs 6.5 ticket in my account because I thought Bosa wasn't going to play. Listen, he didn't practice all week long, and that's typically one of those situations where when you're an edge rusher, if you can't get in any sort of practice at all, especially even just a limited practice on Friday, that's bad news. He's going to go. I don't like my ticket near as much right now. I actually kind of hate it. I'll be watching in game, see if there's any reason for me to try to buy off of my position that I've got. So
that's a great point, actually, that this is a game that I think is in a for us as bettors to watch early on and see how it develops and possibly live bet, because I think you can't blitz the Chiefs and expect to win. Only way that you can really contend with them is if you're able to get pressure without blitzing. So if the Chargers are able to do that with only rushing 4 and dropping 7 and maybe bracketing Tyreek Hill like the Ravens did, then I'd be interested in the Chargers.
Yeah, keep everything in front of you. We saw the blueprint last week, right? It's like Tyreek Hill was basically taken out of the game because they kept everything in front. He's not given these one-on-one opportunities to beat you long and get those quick scores.
Yeah, I love that point. I love the fact that we now in our legal states where you can possibly live bet these situations. So if you see the Chargers, A, not getting pressure with 4 and or B, blitzing a lot, I don't have any interest in the Chargers at that point. So that's something that I would very much be watching closely in this game.
Dan's asking Ravens or Broncos for a survivor. He's got 160 people left in the pool. I got to be honest with you, with all the stuff going on with the Ravens, I am not incredibly comfortable with them. Like I said, I took the points with the Lions, and if anybody asked me any of the big favorites that are most likely to lose today, I would probably say the Ravens, to be perfectly honest with you. So I would be on, if those are the two choices, I'd be on the Broncos all day long.
Hey, little money line action on Detroit here. Little sprinkle with the spread.
No sprinkle for me. Like I said, I got the points, but let me ask you that question, right? So we got the Browns as 7.5-point favorites. We got the Cardinals as 7.5-point favorites. We've got the Bills as 7-point favorites. We've got the Ravens as 8-point favorites. We've got the Broncos as 10-point favorites. Who of those do you think is most likely to lose? I mean,
yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, wouldn't you think it would be the Ravens against the Lions?
Yeah, I mean, it's a letdown spot after playing Sunday night against the Chiefs and all the injuries they have that they're dealing with. So I could certainly see that possibly happening. And the Lions are going to play hard, although make mistakes, because they're just not all that talented of a roster. So it's certainly a situation. I don't think they're the most likely team to pull an upset today. I will say, though, from a wide angle lens view, looking at the slate for today and week 3 on Sunday, I mean, I think it wouldn't shock me in the least if we see a handful of short underdogs pulling upsets today, because I think there's a lot of evenly matched games here, even though the spread might be, 3 or more. I mean, I'm looking at, would it shock you with the way Josh Allen has been playing for Washington to pull an upset today? Would it shock you for the healthy and how bad the Titans are to pull an upset? The Chargers, how bad the Chiefs are. I mean, that would be a little shocking, I think, for everybody. But in terms of the analytics, I don't think it would be all that shocking. The Saints against the Patriots on the road. The Falcons against the Giants on the road. The one that everybody's talking about, I think, is probably the most likely, although I hate that everybody is now all on it and supporting it. I think are the trendy underdog of the week here.
So the two, both of those games you're talking about, so the Bengals, Steelers, and then the Falcons, Giants, both of those have fallen off of the 3. I mean, these are both games that you could have gotten on the other side of 3 earlier in the week, and both of those games have come all the way through the 3, sitting at 2.5 right now. Giants 2.5-point favorites, Steelers 2.5-point favorites in that one. So, tons of money coming in on Bengals, tons of money coming in on the Falcons. Gerardo asks, will the Broncos, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens win? I smell someone having a 14 parlay out there. They are definitely all definitely likely to win. That being said, I mean, I think the Chiefs is dicey. If I'm being honest, I think the Chiefs is dicey. And like I just said, I think the Ravens is fairly dicey with what they're kind of heading into this game right now. I think I just saw something that came through that there are 13 guys for this game that make at least $1 million for the Ravens that are going to be out today. So it's just a lot to overcome in the NFL. Even though the Lions are bad, they're still NFL players, and they're still guys that can go out there and get it done. Macaroni Tony asks us here, what are your 3 favorite over-under plays? I have only one in my account. That being said, the number's long gone. I can give you my reasoning behind it, and then you can make your choice. It's whether you still want to play it or not. But I have the under in the Bears-Browns game. This is, of course, the first start for Justin Fields. This is a Browns team also that I feel like they are going to be. They're already one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL as it is anyway. They're already leading the league in situation-neutral run rate. They are 31st in the league in situation-neutral pace as it is anyway. So the Browns like to run. They like to play slow. Nothing has changed from last year to this year. It has been the exact same with them. If you look at the Bears, they've actually operated at the 11th slowest situation neutral pace as well. The Bears games are averaging the 4th fewest combined plays. The Browns games are averaging the 3rd fewest combined plays through the short season here. And then I start to look at the defensive kind of mismatches here, where you got a 39-year-old Jason Peters going up against Myles Garrett out there, and it's a rookie quarterback making his first start in the NFL on the road at the Cleveland Browns that have one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL. And so I'm also wondering how much to this point total the Bears are going to be able to contribute. So Browns play slow, love to run. I also figure, and this is more of narrative street, Steven, I'm wondering what you think about this, but outside of just the numbers, which I play mostly numbers here, but I'm going to say for this game, I'll admit it's probably 80% numbers and 20% narrative. Listen, there's a reason why they went with Andy Dalton and not going with Justin Fields, because they didn't want him to have to play in this game. They wanted him to play in week 4 when they were at home against the Lions. They did not want him to play on the road at the Browns for his first NFL start. And so I feel like we're going to get a conservative playbook here. I feel like they're not going to put him in positions to fail. I feel like Matt Nagy has this whole protection thing going on with Justin Fields. And so another reason for me that I'm leaning towards this being an under, because I don't think he's going to be put in positions to throw a bad pick 6 or, quick 3 and outs all over the place and all that, because I honestly think that they're going to play fairly close to the vest.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a reason. I think it's a valid reason. I think it's a bad reason. I don't agree with Matt Nagy doing that. The perfect spot to put him in was week 2 against the Bengals, frankly. Like, let him get his reps there for an entire game. So I didn't understand it, but I do agree with you that they're going to try and protect him and play conservative and slow the pace down. So that is one of my favorite unders for this week among over-unders. The other 2 that I like the over 45 in the Washington-Buffalo game. I think the Washington defense has been incredibly suspect through 2 weeks. And same reason, the Falcons Giants over 47 is one I like.
I
So
think
hopefully
that's got sneaky shootout written all over it.
yeah, I think both those defenses are trash. I honestly do.
Well,
So
Giants
hopefully,
at full strength as well, right? So you've got Galladay, you got Ingram, you've got Shepard, and you got Slayton, and you got Saquon Barkley. So the first time that offense has been completely healthy. And again, now we're one game further into Kyle Pitt's career as well, as far as him making the adjustments needed to kind of help out on that offense. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that game has sneaky shootout. If you play DFS out there, I would target that game. I think that's kind of a sneaky shootout type game.
yeah, I mean, I think you're not going to get high ownership on Matt Ryan, so you could do a Ridley stack and then come back on the other side with a Sterling Shepard maybe. So or even
Or a Danny Dimes. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can go the opposite way too, and do Danny Dimes. And the top 2 PFF grade here through 2 weeks, how we all had it drawn up. So yeah, those are the 3 openers that I like this week. So hopefully Macaroni Tony, which by the way, if you could tell us the genesis of that name Macaroni Tony in the chat, that would be phenomenal, because that's good shit.
So teasing the NFL asked favorite teasers for today. Oh buddy, do I have teasers?
Yeah, good teaser week.
Yeah, do I have teasers today? So I keyed on the Panthers. So I'm one leg home already on a lot of these, but I love the Browns down to 1.5. There's even there is a 7 or 2 still out there. You get it down to 1 if you wanted to do that. I love the Cardinals down through the 7 and the 3 as well. It looks like you've lost the 7.5. The majority of the books out there, so you'd have to go 8 down to 2 on that one. Really, really, really like that one a ton as well. I mean, those 2 legs for me are as good as it gets. Now, I was able to get the Bucks when they were underdogs, so I got the Bucks up to 7.5 in a lot of these as well. But that ship has sailed. I don't like it a little. I don't really like it as much with the Rams teased, but I really like teasing the Bucks up. But listen, I love the Browns and the Cardinals in this. Listen, like I said, rookie quarterback on the road making his first start in Cleveland. By the way, Steven, I am looking, and it's not like the worst case scenario here or anything like that, but it does look like there's going to be at least a little bit of wind in Cleveland as well. So also add that to your rookie quarterback. Add that to your rookie quarterback thing as well here. That it looks like, it's not crazy, but it's kind of that sustained 15-mile-an-hour winds, which is not anything that we're going to freak out about. But, sustained 15-mile-an-hour winds, and that means if there's gusts every now and then, we're going to see kind of like something that might be able to affect the ball a little bit. And again, that's just one more thing to be looking at in that one. So love that one. And then the other one, of course, is the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals, this line surprised me, Steven. When it came out and this thing wasn't closer to 10, I was pretty shocked. I mean, this Jacksonville team has given you the resume for the worst team in the NFL so far, and maybe the worst team in the NFL for the rest of the season here. And so I don't know what anyone has seen over the last 2 weeks and what you feel like you're getting going forward that would make you think that the Cardinals can't cover 2 points in this game. If the Cardinals can't win this game by at least a field goal, then all of these aspirations and all these talks about maybe them being for real and maybe them actually being able to challenge and things like that, then that's just completely out the window. If you can't beat the Jags by at least 2 points, then something's wrong.
Yeah, Cardinals minus I made this week on, I think it was Tuesday, mostly on, I won't lie, I was on tilt a little bit after betting the Jags to cover 6 last week against the Broncos and then dumpster fire, not even scoring an offensive touchdown. So I mean, I'm with you, man. I got some teasers I like this week too. Among the teasers I bet, I did have a couple that had the Carolina Panthers from Thursday night, so I'm sitting on those. But obviously you guys can't bet those. So let's give you guys a couple different ones here that I have in the account. Carolina, no. Buffalo, Cleveland is a teaser leg that I like, a 2-team teaser, minus 120 odds on that one. So I like Buffalo and Cleveland. There's a couple others now that kind of fit the mold of a good teaser situation, right? With the Bengals and the Falcons coming down through the 3, you can now tease that up 8.5. So that's kind of how I would look at those games. I'm interested in betting the Bengals or the Falcons at plus 2.5 at this point. I'd rather just play them straight up on the money line or tease them both and get plus 8.5. That's kind of where I'm at on those two games. So,
Yeah.
and hey,
I'm not taking 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah. For Macaroni Tony, my whiteness showed through with not knowing the answer to this. Macaroni Tony says that is a character from the TV show Martin. He ran numbers for Jerome, which is phenomenal. What a name. I love that. Good reference. Thanks for joining us, Macaroni Tony. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's good. I wouldn't play the Bengals at 2.5 at this point either. I wouldn't play the Falcons at 2.5 either. I tried to get on the Falcons at 3.5, and by the time I tried to hit submit, that number was gone. So I would either tease them up or just play them straight up to win the game. I wouldn't even worry about the 2.5 really. At this point with both of those. I mean, let's talk a little bit about that Bengals Steelers game. I mean, listen, we're talking about a number that is just fallen off a cliff here. People coming in and backing the Bengals. And listen, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world here. One, they invested a ton on the defensive side of the ball, Steven. I mean, they went out and they did it in free agency. They've done it in the draft. Like, they knew where the deficiency was on this team outside of the offensive line, which again, they're probably going to have to address in this draft and in this free agency off season. But they went out and they improved this defense a lot. And is getting a guy like Trey Hendrickson in there, a guy who had 50 pressures in the NFL last year for the Saints, getting him in there on that defensive line, I think is very real. And I got to be honest with you, if I was a Bengals backer today, which by the way I did, but it was when it was at 4 and I took them up to 10 because my feeling on this was, if the Steelers can beat me by double digits, then so be it. Tip of the cap to them from what I've seen so far with the Steelers team, then you can have it, right? Like, that's the way I was viewing that game. Now that it's at 2.5, I still think, though, whenever you take a look, I mean, TJ Watt is out for the Steelers team. Alex Highsmith is out for this Steelers team. That is 2 edge rushers. So the problem typically has been Joe Burrow has no time to throw, hasn't been able to get any sort of protection, but TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith aren't playing in this game for the Steelers. And then Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, who's basically become the wide receiver 1 there for that Steelers team, is out as well. And the reason he's wide receiver 1 is because he doesn't run routes down the field, and Ben Roethlisberger can't throw the ball anymore. Deontay Johnson's always somewhere within like 6 or 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, and that's the reason he's become wide receiver 1 for this team. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons to feel like the Bengals are pretty live here. I mean, number 7 defense DVOA, it's a short sample size. We've only got 2 games in, but number 7 defense DVOA through the first 2 weeks here. Steelers pass offense is graded only above the Jets and the Jags so far in 2021. The run offense, which they went out and invested a first round pick in Najee Harris, they're 30th. Najee Harris is only averaging 3.2 yards per carry right now. So it is it's just a bad state of affairs there for them. And I don't think it's crazy if we're talking about this on Monday and the Bengals won this game by a touchdown plus.
I can't disagree with you. I get paranoid when the entire sports betting Twitter world is on a side, and but everything points to it. I mean, I can't. You know, what would it shock you though if Lee can't finish this game and then somehow their crap backups are actually better than Ben and they somehow survive?
Oh, that's what I was just about to say. If you're holding a Bengals ticket, I think you're loving the fact that Ben's playing today.
Yeah.
Like I think you're loving that he's playing, and it wasn't like he wasn't ruled out early in the week so that the back, whoever they decided to go with, whether it be, Haskins or whether it be Mason Rudolph, didn't get the full week to like prep and get ready and know that they're going to start that week and all that. I think you're loving the fact that it's Ben, and he gets injured in the game and then they have to throw in Rudolph or Haskins or something like that. Like, I think you're loving that Ben Roethlisberger's trying to go today. I mean, the guy has been absolutely putrid. He is only graded above those rookie quarterbacks as well. He's the 30th in the league as far as passing grade. I mean, he's been pathetic. So yeah, I think that's really, really good. Steven, let's go ahead and get out of here. Let's talk about the bets that we have in our account. So why don't you run down what you've got, and if anybody wants to tell you if those numbers are still available.
Yeah, sure. Arizona -7 from earlier in the week. I wouldn't play that past 7.5, to be honest with you. Jaguars just have to prove it to me at this point. I do have Bucks money line at -105. That number's long gone. I would play the Bucks up to -2. I'd be okay with that. Detroit +9. That number's gone. Play +8, but no further. A +3.5. We've discussed that. That number also, as you can tell, we like to bet NFL games earlier in the week because we get numbers at times that become much better than they are come Sunday morning. So keep that in mind with your NFL betting strategy weeks to come. So to me at this point, them in a teaser. I do have Seattle to cover -1.5. I think that's at 2. +3.5. I'm not comfortable. I know it's a small edge, but give me the hook there for Green Bay. I do like Atlanta this week. I don't think the Giants should be a field goal favorite over anybody. That's down to 2. The Bengals, I'm more comfortable at this point. If you do want to bet to take Falcons money line or use them in a teaser. And last but not least, despite a couple of key injuries, I like the Eagles +4 on Monday Night Football. I think they were a bit unfortunate last week. I thought they moved the ball really well on offense. And as unfortunate as the Eagles were on offense, I thought the Cowboys were fortunate on defense last week against the Chargers. Like the Eagles last week, the Chargers moved the ball on offense extremely well. So I do like the Eagles +4 on Monday night.
Yeah, so we got one last question coming in here right now. Alexander Madison or Sterling Shepard PPR flex. That is a good problem to have, I would say. Like we said, I think that the Giants Falcons game has a really good sneaky shootout potential. And the thing
Dalvin
with me,
Cook
Steven,
definitely out though. Is he out?
He not expected to play. It says so.
Okay.
Not officially. Not expected to play in the game. So that's kind of the issue that we're dealing with here with that one, because of course that's an afternoon game. So you have to make that decision whether you want to roll the dice, because it just he's not officially out, right? So it's the not expected to play thing. So
here's what I would do.
What if Dalvin Cook goes out there and says, "Oh no, I'm playing"? There's that.
Here's what I would do. If you have room on your roster, I would drop a guy on your bench. Start Alexander Madison in your flex if you can. And then if for some miracle Dalvin Cook plays, then you have an empty somebody up in an emergency and play him. Because I do think Alexander Madison with Dalvin Cook out is a top 15 running back play, where Sterling Shepard's been good, but there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Giants offense. So from week to week, you're not sure who's going to get it. So that's kind of how I would.
Well, and we're guessing that's going to be a shootout. Like the Seahawks Vikings game's got a total of 54.5. Like we have seen nothing from either one of these defenses to make us think that it's not. So, I mean, again, me personally, I'm not, I'm a gambler, obviously. So I gamble on, so I would just gamble that Madison gets the majority of the carries. Like I personally play Madison because I have a high threshold for risk, I take on a lot of risk. And so it's not really, that's not really a big thing to me. On my end, from a betting standpoint, like I said, I have Cardinals and Browns in all sorts of teasers. So I need those guys to win by at least 2 points today. That's going to be huge. I also got the Cardinals in the account at 7. It's up 7.5 or 8 now. I'd go ahead and pass on that, guys. Not that I would play the other side. I just think you've lost a lot of value whenever we've gotten up over the touchdown. So wouldn't really worry about that one. The other thing I'm on that under in the Bears and Browns game, as we talked through here. This thing is collapsing, so it's all the way down to 44 at DraftKings Sportsbook. I don't know if somebody knows something we don't, but I got that at 46. That seems to be there's still a 45 available out there if you did want to get in on the under with me on that one. I do have a Packers +3.5, +4 ticket, I should say, as well. That's down to 3. It's the bet I made this week that I have the least amount of confidence in. Listen, there's one of the big things happened with the Packers this week. So Bakhtiari already on IR, not being able to start for them. The guy that had slid over from left guard to left tackle to be able to fill in for Bakhtiari, Eldon Jenkins, he's doubtful as well in this game. So now your starting left tackle and your backup left tackle are both gone in this game. And oh, by the way, there's a guy named Bosa that plays for the 49ers as well. So I hate the bet. I don't like it near as much. Again, I made the bet before the news came out about the left tackle situation there for the Packers. So it is what it is. Sometimes you got to eat a bad bet that you've made, and that one probably is going to be a bad bet for me. The other games that I'm at least intrigued about, these numbers have gone from where I've got them, so it doesn't even matter where I got them. I'm just telling you what I think. Like we said, I think it's interesting to tease the Bengals up to 8.5. I think getting them over that touchdown against this kind of really poor Steelers team, and by the way, only a total of 42 in that game. So you're getting 8.5 points in a total of 40 in a game that's only got a total of 42. Pretty powerful teaser leg there when you look at it from that standpoint. And then the other thing is, like I said, I took the points with the Lions, and I think that they're at least pretty live to keep this thing within a touchdown. This injury situation for the Ravens, as we mentioned, is completely bonkers. And not only is it injuries, but it's COVID and the whole 9 yards that's going on with that team. I mean, just to run down, their left tackle, Ronnie Staley, was out already. Defensive end, Derek Wolfe, was out already. So they were both not playing as it was. Then Brandon Williams, Justin Houston, Jalen Ferguson. They also have another linebacker. They also have another couple of reserve guys, all placed on the COVID list, unable to play in this game as well. So there's just a lot in that one that I didn't feel like that was worth them being 8.5 point favorites at the time whenever I got it. So anyway, anything over a touchdown, I think is pretty curious to play there.
All right, Matt, let's end with a hot take here. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's end with a hot take. Let's pick an underdog that's going to win outright today that is plus 150 or longer. So I don't want to, like, we're not talking Saints, we're not talking Falcons or Bengals. Is there an underdog at plus 150 or better right today? And
if I had to take one, I would take the Dolphins.
I like that one. I think a lot of people on our staff like it too.
Like if I had to take an underdog to win outright, I would take the Dolphins. If we're looking at plus 150 or longer. That being said, I think the Chargers are certainly live. Like, I think the Chargers are certainly live against the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense is bad enough, and I think there's enough firepower on that Chargers offense to keep this thing pretty close. And if it comes down to, one of these last few possessions, we've seen how this can go sometimes, And so, but if you look at that, the Dolphins team, I mean, Brissett is certainly a downgrade from Tua, but I don't know how big of a downgrade from Tua it is. By the way, they get Will Fuller back this week as well. So there is a new wrinkle to that offense, which actually gives this offense a full look here, because one of the things was you get Will Fuller. He's the guy that can take the top off the defense. You can operate underneath a whole lot better with your other guys. And so I think that maybe Will Fuller comes in and makes a decent difference in the way that this offense has looked over the first couple of weeks as well.
There you go. There's your hot take. I was going to say the Chargers too. I do think a shootout. They're going to have to score with them, but I like them. I think they're a well-rounded roster. So there's your money, your underdog money line hot takes as we head into week 3.
Guys, good luck on everything. Good luck on your fantasy lineups. Remember, go ahead, set all those things. If you haven't done that already, if you've forgotten, be sure and get in there and set your lineups and listen, every single game has a written breakdown over on the Lines and Play Picks, so head over there as well. We also have videos chopped up from the Megapod that we did earlier in the week as well, so you can take in little 5 to 6 minute clips of our thoughts on every single one of the games along with Brad Allen, so be sure and do that. And good luck on all your bets here in week 3 of the NFL. Bam!